All right, everybody, welcome into the Willie X studio here at our Lantana location at Willie Cafe. I'm John Arrivo, owner-operator, Willie Cafe, Willie Coffee, Willie X, and I wanted to bring in a customer, my friend John Fullbright. John is a very interesting guy, and I wanted to bring him in and get him on the podcast. It looks like you're the inaugural podcast, John, so congratulations for that. And John's doing some interesting things, healing people with ailments through a medium with Bee Venom. And so I wanted to bring John in and chat a little bit about that. And now I'm going to let John explain his journey and where he is today and how he is healing people with this great service.
Thank you, Jonathan. Definitely huge fan of your inspiration and leadership of the coffee scene there. Willie's is amazing.
Thank you.
So what got me here today, how I'm even really here, has a lot to do with our relationship or my relationship to nature. So long story short, 2004, I was hit by lightning. Suffered a bundle of burns internally, and from that event, I had a difficult time retaining nutrients and absorbing food, and so I lost about 50 pounds in the year following the lightning. And then over the next 9 years, I learned various different modalities from Tao priests, like internal organ massage called Chi Ne Sung. Extremely helpful in helping me repair my inner biome. And in the process of that, being drawn into more Taoist practices, finding natural medicine, different ways to sort of heal, because I was super sensitive to everything. Couldn't really handle wheat, couldn't handle tomato paste, it was just anything. If I mixed food, if I combined food, I would just not be able to hold it in. And so getting through that process of recovery, natural medicines, holistic medicines, different approaches, massage, chiropractic, all these different things, muscle testing came into my life. And it was from muscle testing that, fast forward to 2014, I was nearly dying again after healing from the burns of the lightning. I had other things going on. I was losing my vision. I was losing my balance. I had no smell and taste. I started trembling, shaking all the time. I was having muscle cramping in a lot of varieties of my muscles that would never cramp normally. I was having fits with anger and absolutely worse brain fogs, cluster headaches, blinding headaches that would last a few seconds, migratory pain that would come and go. And I just couldn't figure out what was going on with me until I went and I got muscle tested. And the next thing I know, I had Lyme disease. And so verifying the Lyme disease, I went for blood testing and different testing, and realized I had no hormone function. I had the hormone profile of a 90-year-old man. I was very gray, cold, weak, had no thermal regulation, and talked to a clinic in Arizona. They wanted $300,000 to treat me for 9 months. Wouldn't take insurance. And so I thought maybe this was it, this was like a form of cancer. Like, I never really realized Lyme disease was so severe. But as I continued on my journey, a woman told me, hey, there's this lady that does this ancient samurai medicine from Japan. It's a traditional meridian therapy, 5-element meridian therapy, just like traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I tried it, and within 20 minutes, it changed my life, and I knew I was onto something that may help me recover. And in the process of wanting to understand the science behind bee venom, I did nothing else. So I did bees, I did propolis, and I did, when I was at my sickest, I worked up to 150 bees a week. And it was really my sensei voice, Durling Jones, that started these treatments on me and gave me the history and the depth of the culture, where it came from. She actually moved to Japan and learned this from Japanese, from her teacher that was actually healing her when she went there on a chanting trip and hurt herself.
Okay, and so when you were getting treatment, you said that you were doing 150 bees a week. What's that mean?
So I was using about 150 bees a week, but she was helping me direct it. So we were using acupoints all over my body.
Okay. So it's a
to
form of
support.
acupuncture, basically.
It's the original form of
The original
acupuncture
form.
before needles. So back in the day, they used to use bones and thorns
Okay,
and
gotcha.
sharpened tools, and then bees, of course, were right in there.
Yep.
And from what I understood is in the Golden Age, when the Japanese were in China with the Tao priests exchanging all this information, they also were using mugwort as a way to simulate the way the bee reacted. So they used mugwort or moxa on the needle to burn, to put some heat in to get a bigger heat reaction.
Okay.
A lot like what the stinger does with the bee.
Yes.
And that's kind of how I see the bee venom. It's bee venom, and if you look at the essence of bee venom, it's neurotransmitters that are a poison. It could be, if you're allergic, one could kill you.
Oh, yeah.
From the reaction, kind of like COVID long haul with a runaway immune system function. That anaphylaxis reaction is extremely possible. But it is mitigatable, and it is something you can train your body for as well. That's low-dose immunotherapy. It could help you reverse allergies to bees by getting the right dosage over the right time.
Got it.
So this basically is the original form of acupuncture, where we're taking the 5 elements into account, and based on the symptoms of the person, we're addressing the whole body as a unit. And each treatment is custom to their symptoms. Now, if you have similar people with similar symptoms, similar points or identical points are going to work perfectly for those kinds of mirrored diseases. And in a lot of the clinical trials that have been out there, many of them published in Korea and China, there are a number of the evidence that acupuncture with bee venom or acupoint apitherapy is meridian therapy is much more effective than just random stings. Now, with Lyme disease, there's a lot of protocols that they put a lot of venom up the spine, and that's essential. And working on the core of the body is essential because the extremities are so toxic. In the 5-element medicine, the extremities are looked like as the outlying villages. And so they're always going to be, but it's where the stem cells live, actually, is in the extremities. So it's kind of like when something in the kingdom needs help, they're going to go to the outlying forest for the resources.
Sure.
And so when you start with Lyme disease treatment, you're trying to focus a lot of venom and repairing in the core to get the toxins out. Because most of it's a lot of, it's like Edgar Cayce said, there's 4 basic realities in life. You need to have care. If you look at the acronym, C-A-R-E, you have to have care for yourself, self-care.
Yep.
You have to have assimilation of your nutrients and ideas.
Yep.
And then you have to have rejuvenation of the spirit and repair of the tissues.
Sure.
And then you have to have elimination. And one of the biggest things we see with Lyme disease is the lack of ability to process life toxins. You just get toxic on everything.
Okay.
And so bee venom seems to be one of these nutrients that seems to help the immune system open up the spillway and clean out the body, almost like a plant-based natural solvent.
Okay, and so it's like it's
neurologic degreaser.
Yeah, and what I'm understanding is that it is acupuncture, obviously. It's just a form of acupuncture that could produce much greater results.
Much greater reaction from your immune system.
Yep.
And because it's plant-based medicine, maybe 10 or 11,000 bees per plant, or plants per bee.
Yeah. Sure.
That kind of plant medicine essence in the nerves. And so the way the venom works with living venom, we're scratching the surface of the skin. We're not actually doing a full puncture. We're actually just scratching the surface of the skin, adding droplets to that meridian, and then the meridian's carrying the venom. And the venom follows the calcium channel, potassium channel of every cell in the body. So it actually finds its own way and dissipates throughout every membrane of the body. And that's another reason why we're finding it seems so effective. There's a lot of evidence out lately about venom and breast cancer. Triple negative cancer is extremely dangerous. And the in vitro trials have shown to be very effective.
Sure.
There's a lot of data out there about some of that, but what we're seeing is that with Lyme disease, you're facing often, in my case, I had Lyme and 5 co-infections like Babesia, red blood cell infection, Bartonella, Ehrlichia, Rocky Mountain relapsing fever. All of these things kept coming through me, and using a propolis, bee venom, honey, Qine Sung internal organ massage, sound therapy, emotional therapy, trauma release. It's just unbelievable in the effectiveness in
All
recovery.
right, so let's recap. Struck by lightning.
A little bit.
That was basically the catalyst,
For trashing
a lot of
my
things
immune
that happened.
system. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my journey.
All right. And then did you get Lyme disease because of the lightning strike, or did
It
you?
seemed to appear. I'd
Okay.
had it ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
And after the lightning, it was about 10 years until I started seeing the symptoms that were like a systemic arthritis.
Yep.
Things that just didn't make sense. People are like, oh, you're just getting old. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is different. Like,
Sure.
my knees feel dry
Right.
inside.
And I don't know too much about Lyme disease.
And it's like it kind of took off, and what we see this often in the Lyme disease patients, that they'll have it in them and not know it, and then have a stress event like a car accident
Yeah.
or a divorce, and the next thing you know, it's blowing up.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it seems to hide out a lot like Epstein-Barr virus, shingles, chickenpox,
Okay.
even COVID long haul, for example.
Yeah.
It's very sticky.
And so you chose to seek out, obviously, a different form of treatment, and
Reluctantly.
yeah, reluctantly. And
I was like, bees? What is a
Sure.
bee going to do for me? You
but
know?
it started with the meridian treatment. Is that explain to me
It was-
the meridian part of it again?
Basically, is like I presented with severe inflammation in the
Yeah.
body and liver issues,
Yeah.
Which is like a forest fire. Okay?
Okay.
And if you can't get the water in the tissues, you need water is the mother of wood.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Yes.
the mother of water is metal. So metal is lung, large intestine. So if
Sure.
you have a fire and you can't have any water, the only way to put out that fire is with metal. You chop the forest down.
Mm-hmm.
And you chop the wood back, and that trims the forest in a sense to
Yeah.
reduce the fuel. But the fire's still going to burn.
Okay.
But you're trying to reduce it. So assisting the liver in detoxing the fire.
Yeah.
And so that's how the system works, going back and forth in terms of control. It was just that I was lucky enough that my sensei voiced, Durling Jones, using the Hoshindo method, using that ancient Japanese approach that
Yes.
was taught to them by the Tao priests,
Okay.
that gave the body a way to extinguish the fire from the immune system point of view. So again, just like a needle is a thorn to the body, so is bee venom. It's all this plant medicine that the body's like, what is this? And when it knows what to do with all of this, it's plant medicine.
Yeah, and I think that's what connected us was when you saw the honey in the store that we use, and I started chatting you up about the honey that we have in the store, which is fresh from Loxahatchee, and we get it delivered to our doorstep from the farm, and it's probably one of my most favorite products in the store because I put it in my coffee with cream, and I'm going to tell you, it totally complements our extremely fresh coffee, the honey. There's nothing else that I want to put in my coffee ever again except for this or any type of extremely fresh honey, right? And I think that so far the main point that you've hit home to me about honey is one bee is hitting how many trees and plants?
10,000, maybe more.
One bee
11,000.
will hit 10,000 plants and grab nutrients from 10,000 plants and provide how much honey to the hive?
Their lifetime of honey might be a quarter teaspoon.
A quarter teaspoon. Okay,
Maybe
so then
less.
you have hundreds and thousands of bees that are also doing that, and they're pulling insane amounts of nutrients from all kinds of different plants. My
Every
favorite
direction.
one is the orange blossom plant. When the bee hits the orange blossom plant, you get benefits that you get from an orange inside honey, which to me is like the most wild thing ever.
Yeah, my friend was just raving about her favorite is the Tupelo,
Okay.
which is a
don't
very
think I've had that
special honey too. And there's so many
Yeah.
in the world, and that's the thing. A doctor in New Mexico did a study on children that were allergic to antibiotics, and he did a broad-based study with these, I think it was 15 kids or maybe more, and he gave them honey from all over the world. They tested Manuka honey and the big, all the
Manuka.
different honeys around that have the pine forest near them, and
Mm-hmm.
and the pine honeys were almost equivalent, if not as equivalent, to a melaleuca. That's coming from the tea tree.
Oh, yes.
Tree is
The-
melaleuca.
And the tea tree
And it's an amazing tree.
Yeah.
And the thing,
Insane.
that's what's so amazing is around the world, no matter where you come from, the pollens are different.
Yeah.
The propolis is that they're getting off the rosins and resins are also very, very, very wide ranging, but still all of them
Yeah.
are antiviral, antifungal, and they actually have this restorative quality in radiation damage. And same with venom. They have this, besides neurologic repair with venom, it's been shown it's the radiation repair even. I mean, there's some things going on with plants and nature that I think is really the underscore of it all. And that's what drove me into your shop, actually, was the fact that it looked like a farm.
Yeah, sure.
And it looked like your friendly farmer with with the best thing he could make right there to serve you from the highest place in his heart. And it was like, hey, this is great. And we connected. It was like we share the same name. In New Mexico, if you share the same name, it's Tocayo. We share the same name.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And so anyway, it's like that. And your community sense in your place is what it's all about. We need each other. For sure. We need the bees. The bees need us. We need to be able to meet them with reverence and really rethink our relationship to ourselves and the nature, like in us, and the nature like around us.
Agreed.
This is still a little bit, people are missing out on this big reality that seems to be overly distracted.
Agreed. And one of the products that we have in the store that we put honey inside is the Immune Elixir, which is a turmeric, ginger, honey, black pepper shot. And people are extremely interested in utilizing that product to heal internal ailments. So it has honey in it.
I haven't tried that one. I'm about to try. I had the power smoothie with honey.
Yeah.
One of the green ones that you made. It was delicious.
I mean, it's amazing with the honey. That honey really changes the whole equation of a recipe. I must say. So, and it's because it's fresh honey. So when you are working with products like that, I know it has a healing element for sure for me. Yeah. Like me consuming that honey on a daily basis, 100%. I'm going to do it probably for the rest of my life. So,
and you can brush your teeth with honey.
Oh yeah, and it never goes
antibacterial, antifungal.
Never goes bad.
Never goes bad as long as there's not any water.
Of course.
If there's a little too much moisture, then it can crystallize or whatever. But
so both of us are sitting here off of 12, 13, 14-hour day, like usual, right? And what I would say is, my question to you, like, what were you working on today? What was the customer today? What were you working on?
What I've been doing is I'm a Tao priest of this medicine. We do birth reading charts. So you can understand and align yourself with where you want to go in life. And with chronic illness, you end up on the bottom like a fish without a water and stuck in the mud. And so with all of my patients, I mostly consult as a health coach. Yes. So I'm a certified health coach. I've been a river and mountain guide my whole life and led expeditions all over. And really, all I'm doing at this stage is guiding people into themselves. And so to how they can address it. And almost all of my patients are stinging themselves with bees.
Oh, okay, nice.
And learning how to sting themselves. And so in some ways, I'm coming to them with the knowledge that they need because they want to try it. They are ready.
Got it.
They've tried everything.
Yes, of course.
We've talked about they've tried, most of my clients, most of my friends, they have all tried everything and it's not working. And so I bring a series of modalities that are traditional based from Tibetan monks and Wudang China and all through the Orient, as well as through the Hoshindo Japanese lineage that my sensei represented to me, and the Native American way that has been on this continent for centuries. They all have a very similar deep awareness of our relationship to each other and nature. And so it's like, that's what we need to grasp. I see so many people going to plant ceremony in different ways, and they're really jerks when they drive on the road, or they're mean in Walmart. And it's really not about how spiritual you can get on the weekend. It's how real you can be in traffic and when the things are really hitting the fan for all of us. And I think, the chronic disease that I had, the Lyme disease and the shingles that I've dealt with 9 times, and the lightning and vomiting for a year and all that kind of stuff, it all was beautiful because it in a way, it didn't care how bad it hurt because I was still here and I felt I would get through it. Now, if you never had any hope, we might not make it. And that's where I lose a lot of Lyme people to suicide. And that's been a big one, is to, what brought me to Florida was a Lyme patient that was threatening suicide. Another patient that was dying of uranium poisoning, mold, and Lyme disease, and he just was like, "Will you help me? I will give you anything I can. I think it's the only thing that's going to keep me alive." And that started, and then I've helped all these other people help themselves, and that's kind of what it's. We're teaching people how to help themselves, because nobody needs to rely on me, because I'm just carrying this knowledge.
Sure.
And so it's spreading as people are waking up to the fact that we need to insist on clean food around us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, it's crazy.
That's a big part of it. I'm learning for my own health for sure. Is the better the food that I consume, the better my mental health is, the better my physical health is. It's not just working out in the gym and drinking protein shakes and feeling good on the outside and seeing it. It's also all the internal will lead to helping out the mental as well. And so whatever you feed the internal, like delicious fresh honey, it will always help. So I think maybe there might be a moment where we'd go further into your research and your studies and your training on the model. Again, tell me the name of it. The
Hoshindo.
Yes, Hoshindo.
So yeah, it's just like traditional Chinese medicine.
Sure.
Same 5 elements.
Yeah.
Each relate to the other. The organs have a yin and a yang.
Yep.
There's this harmony we try to achieve in ourselves, and we all know what it is in a way. Like in life, we want to be living our dream. We want to live a vision and have it come true, and
Sure.
be able to make good money and have friends and not feel left out and isolated and angry and confused and not know where we're going and not have something matter. And I think that we're learning, you know, that we all need this sort of, we need to anchor ourselves in direction for doing the right thing. And sometimes, like nowadays, it just seems a little confusing for folks because there's so many distractions on what's, you know.
I'm going to do my research into Hoshindo. It sounds pretty interesting to me.
It's very mysterious. And a lot of these traditions, there's actually not a lot of information on it because a lot of these traditions were oral.
Yeah.
And this lineage came down. My sensei's sensei, Indo sensei, she'd probably be over 106 now. And she had her funeral in her early 90s. And so that was almost 10 years ago. So my
she passed it to you orally.
She passed it to my teacher.
Okay.
And she went to Japan to live with her.
Got it.
And yeah, she had to learn Japanese to figure it out.
Oh my gosh.
And then she's the one who brought it to me and our other Lyme patients that we studied with her for 17 weeks. And she just passed away this June from COVID long haul and sheer exhaustion. And she was done. But she felt, you know, she gave us the blessing to share this knowledge and be a Daishihan, carry this lineage, share it with the people that need it to survive. Because in China, they still use it today. They refer to it as barefoot medicine, or in Africa, it's bush medicine. And it's basically just utilizing one of the most powerful things in nature to stimulate your immune system.
Yes.
And then your body responds.
Yep.
Your body does the magic. So it's a teamwork between nature and humanity, and that's the thing. It's not the bee, it's both of us, and it's not me without the bee either. And I think that's something that our society has to pull full 360 on awareness. And we all are trying, but it's hard because there's so many things out of our control.
So many things that to make us also a little confused about where we should be leading ourselves, right? Because there's
where do we go from here?
So many apps we're looking at. There's so many things on our phone, on the TV, and then on our computer, and then in real life. Then we're out and about. So I think that I'm learning, especially in my entrepreneurial journey, the harmony and the balance of the whole equation is becoming extremely important to me. Because if one piece is out of whack, the whole thing's going to be out of whack. Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think my last question to you is, and maybe we'll be able to do another one more detailed about some of the discussions that we had, was like, when you initially came in and pulled into the parking lot at Willie Cafe, what was your initial purpose? Like, were you trying to just get restored? Were you trying to get some coffee in you?
I was in the rejuvenation phase of my moment. I was in between talking talking to people about how they could look at their direction in life and their disease and everything differently.
Sure.
And I went in there to relax.
Yep.
I went in there to rejuvenate, and I had a smoothie and a coffee.
Nice.
And I went in there to take some space to organize my thoughts on the magic. It was like, and honestly, being out here I go all over the United States and the world now doing this, helping people. I've likened myself to like a little space rocket, and it gets kind of lonely out there in the rocket ship. And to land at Willie's was awesome, because immediately I felt, especially, I was in a community, and that's where that was the point. It was that I look at coffee shops all throughout the United States, and I go to places that are mom and pops on purpose. That's why I went there. I actually looked it up to find something that wasn't so corporate. And part of what I do in there is ask, where's the local honey?
Yeah.
And if they don't have any, I'm pulling beekeepers like my friend Roxanne with Bee Made and her honey up in Jupiter and Stuart. She has taught me so much from her 35 years of dealing with this, 2,500 hives and surviving breast cancer, using bees, 30 bees morning and at night on herself. That's serious.
Yeah.
Serious business, and she's here to talk about it. And so it's like very powerful place to be part of a community, and then to have the resources of nature at your disposal that work with you. That's what life's all about.
Yeah. And when you walked in, you saw the honey right there.
I was like, hey, man, you got local honey. I like you. This guy's got priorities.
Maybe I need to talk to Roxanne, man.
You're not going to bulk. Oh, you should. Absolutely. She's got the depth of her knowledge with bees in North America, and if there's a beekeeper in Florida, they probably know her.
Awesome.
She's that
very good.
She's I call her the queen of the queens.
Okay. Well, it was awesome chatting with you.
You too.
I think that there's something to really expand upon when it comes to utilizing nature to provide us with the therapies that we need, to provide us with the balance that we need, the harmonies that we need, to just make us evolve into, more efficient person for me.
Amazing. If we could follow nature's lead.
More success, right?
And, like, mimic nature,
100%.
to work with nature.
Yep.
Just follow that lead instead of think we've got the answer. That's the thing the arrogance of intellect and the arrogance of science and biotech can be dangerous, and it's important to just really remember we're all in the same soup of this thing. It's a fabric.
Yep. And to just utilize what we got. We got it all around us. So
there's good examples of how it works.
Yeah, let's utilize it. All right, awesome. Well, that's it, guys. That's our very first premiere podcast in the studio. John, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Jonathan. Super
and it's been a cool little ride. You've seen us grow over, I don't even know the first time you came in, but we're growing fast, man. We're excited, but it's because we are always trying to do the right thing. We're trying to provide that place, the community spot. We're trying to provide that place for people that are not in our area like you. And you stumble upon us, it excited you because you like to see that type of stuff, and that's what we want to provide. We want to provide a nice spot for the community, and then provide a really cool place too for the people that don't get to come there all the time.
Well, you also have a real priority of quality, which is
absolutely.
What the quality level bar that you had so high. Honey's expensive, and local honey's more expensive, and that didn't matter. You had it there anyway, and that's the point. I think there's just a lot of nobody wants fast food love. We want the real thing, and when you show that money isn't the thing, you're there to give better products.
Absolutely, and better tasting products.
Hey, it's holistics.
Yeah, man. It was awesome. I'm really happy that we did it. We were able to sit down, and we'll see if we get another one coming, all right?
All right.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Moving north.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. That's it.
Thanks, buddy.
We did it.
Yeah, good job. Way to put me to the pedal. That was awesome. Now